Start the morning right with a cup of Vinyl Tap. Nothing beats the refreshing taste of a hot, warm mug of Vinyl Tap. Enjoy your podcast in liquid form today. Vinyl Tap. Enjoy responsibly.
2, 1.
Vinyl Tap.
I'm Habibi.
I'm Habibi.
I'm Habibi.
I'm Habibi.
And this week on Vinyl Tap, we listened to Red Medicine by Fugazi.
Cool.
Oh, it's great. I had a fucking great time. I'm going to lead in. I'm going to say that was awesome. And
Everyone had a great time.
everyone had a great time. Yep.
Sure.
I did have a great time.
so
It was
did I.
a really good time. It was just so much going on.
I think
Yeah.
the term abrasive came up, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like I was having a bad time.
No.
Yeah. No, I think it is any album that begins with like an assault of industrial sounds.
Yeah.
I think would be
I
fairly
felt like I was like
characterised as-
walking into like Tap Dogs or like Stomp or something.
Yeah. No, it's very abrasive.
I forgot about Stomp. Oh my god.
Remember Stomp?
No. So punk.
I don't know what this is though.
No, I don't think
it
it
is.
is.
No?
I think
No.
it almost falls closer to 90s jam bands in a lot of ways.
Well, yeah.
It's
I
like
don't know
it's
how.
not
I don't know what
jammed
genre
though,
this
but
is.
the tone, like the guitar tone, is very Pearl Jam for some of it.
Right. Yeah.
And outside of that, I don't know. If Tim's disagreeing.
We don't even know what the genre is.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think it's it's experimental. They came out of the hardcore scene.
Righto.
So that's kind of
You can hear that in
Right.
the
Yeah.
vocal tone.
For sure.
oh totally yeah.
Things to be said about the vocal tone.
Yeah. So where do we want to start on the vocal tone? Do you want to
Sure.
rip into some people?
Sometimes it works really well. In Target, it suits the song so much.
Yeah.
And there are other moments where it's just so out of place. You need like a sweet melody or like actual singing, because a lot of this is shout
Yeah,
singing
it's
or
yelling.
speak singing.
Yeah.
Right.
Recitative.
Yeah, there's like no actual singing, and they have these things where that
There's
works.
a little bit.
And then it kind of builds towards something that then wants that like little bit of release with the sweet vocal there, and it just doesn't do that. That's like my biggest criticism of this is the vocal tone is the same on every song across the album.
Right. Yeah. Except for the songs where Joe Lally, the bass singer, sings. I think it's By You and Fell Destroyed, I think.
Yeah, so towards the
Yeah.
end of the album.
Yeah,
They're the middle two, aren't they?
The
7 and
middle
8.
two. So the end of the first side, the beginning of the B side.
Right.
Where he can actually sing and he's really nice.
Yeah,
He's
I
got
don't
a really
think
sweet
the vocals
voice.
Yeah.
stood out in that to me.
Oh, they did. They
Well,
did,
they were put
They actually
right-
did stand out to you. You're just misremembering. Yeah, no, I'm with Beebs on this. I very much I hated it across the rest of the album for the most part. But those two songs, I was like, oh yeah, cool, a song.
Yeah, they are put like right back in the mix. Like they're
Yeah.
almost drowned out, so it's hard to hear it. But he has a really really nice vocal tone, which contrasts. Or maybe it's just an average vocal tone, but it definitely contrasts with.
It's
Yeah.
better than what was happening.
Yeah.
So
That's what an average singer needs, is something terrible to stand next to. So that by contrast, it seems like, oh my god.
I disagree with the table. I think the vocals.
No, I don't
are
think
great.
it's terrible. I just
No.
dislike them.
yeah, I definitely think they suit the vibe and they fit in the vibe. I think for a lot of the time where they're mixed back though, it works better if you treat them as if they're just another one of the instruments rather than like a vocal lead that you're concentrating on and tying yourself to get through the song. Like if you kind of treat it as just like another element equal to every other element,
I
it kind
started
of
ignoring the vocals in the later tracks.
yeah.
Just entirely. I was like, okay, I really like what's going on musically, but the vocals are annoying me, so I'm gonna just not pay attention to them.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think that, like, when I first listened to this album, that was sort of... Although I'd already, like, gotten into the sound of the vocals, because they're, like, the way... Like, Guy, who does the more singing, not the shouting.
Right.
His vocal disaster in terms of, like, a nice, beautiful melody. He's, so, like, very chaotic and to me now, after having listened to it for a while, I quite like that sound, and I think it sort of suits and it's very expressive. But I can absolutely appreciate that when you first hear it, it's pretty fucking woeful. Like it's cool, and it definitely has that instrumental effect to it, but it's very sort of discordant and I don't know, like not very rhythmic and free flowing.
Yeah.
And then your alternative is shouting,
Yeah.
like in all the other tracks.
Or
no vocals.
combination lock where there's no vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a robot voice.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, something. I think they put on like it sounded like they had like news snippets or something like that.
Yeah, it
radio
sounded like
snippets.
a
Right.
sample rather than a properly
Yeah.
recorded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool. I like that song.
Yeah.
I even wrote down "What a slapper." There you go.
Right. Yeah.
Also, the bubbling sound of the guitar, was it like a tremolo picking with like an effect?
No, it's just palm muted.
Just
They don't use
and
effects
they're just like
at all.
really insanely
because I wasn't
fast
sure
with
about
it.
that. Yeah.
I was like, that if that's not something doing that, that's stupidly like,
One of the
Yeah.
coolest things about this group is they basically don't use any effects aside from like a overdrive pedal, I think, and a distortion. But yeah, otherwise it's just complete. It's like volume pot, tone pot. Just
What the
that's
hell?
it. Yeah,
So in Fell Destroyed, Fell, Destroyed, that plinking sound from the, like what the fuck was that like the what's the area of the guitar string between the machine head and the neck?
I don't know what it's called, but basically like where
Is that what that was?
It's between the
Yeah.
nut and
Yeah.
the.
I'd have
oh, yeah,
assumed
I know
it
what
was
you're talking
like
about.
really high and then palm muted. That's what. But I don't play guitar, so I wouldn't know.
I need to listen to it again and pay more attention to it. I was not listening for things like that.
Kira.
I'm not sure which section you're talking about.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
we'll assume my idea is correct.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean,
I
it
think
could
you're probably
be,
closer to the
Yeah.
truth.
But the issue there would be you'd be very limited as to what notes you could do it with.
Yeah.
And I think it was somewhat melodic.
Yeah, I think you're right. That it's just really high on the fretboard, or even past the fretboard.
I mean, you can do that effect on violin, so I'm assuming it's the same on.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Guitar.
That does sound like the logical conclusion. I just don't remember hearing it.
But you know, no effects really. They just play. Aside from the clarinet in
That was a bass clarinet.
wherever it was, version.
And was it just a bass clarinet, or was there another instrument going on as well?
I think it's just bass clarinet. There might be
Fuck.
regular clarinet.
Oh my god, that was disgusting.
Like actually,
Like, how dare you?
did you not enjoy it at
I
all?
thought you would have strong opinions.
Yeah,
about
no,
it.
it hurt. I'm a big fan of extended techniques on the bass clarinet, but I really could not get through that song. It just wasn't good sounding to me.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't sure. I'm not super across like clarinet sounds, but that kind of felt super synthy to me, the way they were treating it at least. My question was, is it synths?
It's impressive that you can turn a regular acoustic instrument into something that sounds like that, and like you can just play it to make those kinds of sounds.
Yeah. So how?
Well, so the production of tone in a clarinet it's entirely to do with the shape of your mouth
Yeah.
and what's going, like the air going through your neck. So if you alter that stuff, it's all extremely idiosyncratic. It's very difficult to describe how you produce that sound. You just try
Yeah.
and then see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who could teach you, but just try. Except don't, because clarinet sounds good. And this,
Don't ruin that.
and this didn't sound good. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
didn't like version.
You know, I feel like that fits.
Yeah.
I quite like version.
Mm.
I quite I think I quite like all of these songs. I'm not sure though how much that comes from just knowing it
Like
and
mere
just
exposure.
yeah,
For sure.
How much do you like the last minute of By You?
by you.
The screeching guitar, like
Yeah, the
feedback.
Oh, I
feedback.
loved it. That's fucking wicked.
I did really like that. I thought that was really cool. And especially because like it reached a point where it kind of felt like it was a little bit constructed and it had a bit of purpose to it rather than just being like,
Noise.
let's hold this to the amp and see what happens.
But then didn't they take that point and go a little bit too far with it?
I don't think you can.
You would have listened to a whole track of just that?
Oh God, no. But I just appreciate that they put it in there and they stuck to their guns.
Yeah. It was cool. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but I think they still droned on.
Could have cut it a good
little
30
bit
seconds
shorter.
early, yeah.
Not even necessarily a good 30 seconds, but like they made their point of like, hey, we can move the pitch around with it. It's like an intentional thing.
Yeah.
And then they still just sat on it and sat on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I love, like, that was cool. Like, noise and just, what would you call it? Like, it's not noise core, but just, like, using just sound and then having that as your music, I just think is a cool thing.
It is.
And it's like, you sort of need to be in a mood for it, definitely. I'm gonna have to come back to it. There's a band where one of their songs that they open up with is about a minute and 30 of just harmonics, and then it turns into this like really like smooth kind of sweet song or whatever. But for like the first minute or so, yeah, it's really cool. They like build all this harmony and stuff, which I get is fucking horrible, but it's just so nice. I don't know, it's cool.
Contrast.
Yeah. In By You, I really I don't know if you're going to agree with this or not, and I don't know if I agree with it, but it's almost like psych rock without the fuzz, the way that it grooves, and if you were to make the guitars a little fuzzy, it'd almost fall into like the psych rock kind of sound.
Yeah.
I feel that, yeah, for sure.
Especially the way the bass and the drums work together and kind of like the bass lines. I was like, it's there, but it's not washy like you get with psych rock. In terms
Yeah,
of the guitars.
I think I can agree with that.
There's
I don't have
elements.
anything to add to that.
There's
But
elements from a shit ton of different older genres in here. Like a lot of the harmonies and melodies and the way they interact is like tracks back to blues. Because I know that. I don't know. I think there were people looking at me for certain chords, like what the fuck you were asking, like is this a major mode or a minor mode? And it turns out, and I think that in particular was Target. I think that came up in. Where it's basically an E Phrygian, but the tonic chord is
Yeah, it
major.
was the
So
major.
Phrygian is a minor mode that has a flat third, but they play an E major, actually an E7 chord, which is very like unstable, as a tonic, and it has like that third clashing. Thirds clashing is a big thing across like that's why I call it punk. Right, because it was a wall of sound coming at me, and it has a bunch of like harmonic material that is reminiscent of punk. But the whole thirds clashing thing comes from blues, where you have major chords over minor melodies in the same key. And the riff in that song, do 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 do, which fucking rocks, is it's Dorian. So there's a lot of mode mixture going on here, and I love it all. Not to say that any of that was like considered. They just play what they're playing. Yeah.
I don't know. Actually,
Maybe?
I think that there's probably a lot of this that's considered. I don't.
Yeah, it does
actually
sound-
know, but these guys like really, in general, spend a lot of time thinking about.
Personally, given the industrial sounds and the other stuff that they've orchestrated in like some of the other like sound intros that were soundscapey that were still like in time, and even though it had like a hard cut into the actual song, I just assumed that a lot of it's considered.
No, I think this is their 4th album
Right.
now. Then whatever.
26 years ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm just guessing though.
Yeah, it sounds considered, but I don't want to say that like they were like, yes, let's play in the Phrygian mode,
Oh,
and
well,
the
yeah.
riff will be in Dorian mode, and that will make Tim 26 years from now be like, yes, I see what you've done there.
I can't wait for this podcast thing to get started so people can talk about it.
25 more years. Here we go.
What song was? There was a bass line that made you really, really excited.
it
Oh,
was-
combination lock.
Yeah, combination lock.
Do 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 do.
It was just really very cool, and the kind of going back and forth with like it's got the drum and that like really solid cool bass,
Yeah.
and then the bright leads and kind of how it kind of flowed back and forth between like the weird discordant stuff coming back to just like the chill drum and bass, and they do that a couple of times in a few songs. I think Long Distance Bummer was another one that was like that. I really like that vibe where like they go nuts and it's like hard to listen to and hard to understand what's going on, but it still pulls you back into it. Like they've got that strong foundation going on.
Yeah, they do that as well in Target. No, hang on, Birthday Pony.
I really liked Birthday
Yeah, and I really like the lyrics. I can't remember them exactly.
This
like
is a
word by
birthday
word.
pony.
Yeah, there's one.
This is a birthday pony, no, but it's like the story of that song is I think it's like I don't know, I split these accounts. I think it's about like opening up new credit cards, like splitting your accounts, like creating money that you can't afford so that you can buy like extra shit that you don't need.
Like a birthday pony.
Like the birthday pony.
Right.
And there's this kind of like sonically this juxtaposition between like putting up the front that everything's kind of like calm and fine, and then there's this like really intense like screaming and like, you know, wall of sound that's I don't know, being in debt, being fucked over by your wealth and everything.
Yeah.
And they do that kind of textural painting all through, which is really, really, really cool.
Was that a prepared piano in this song?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So, a prepared piano is just a piano that's been fucked with in any one of many ways, right? There's a lot of things you can do to prepare a piano, and they're all valid and beautiful, and I believe in
spoons on the strings.
Yeah, you can put ping pong balls. You can like clip the strings.
Yeah.
Light it on fire as you start
Yeah.
to record.
Mm.
Yep, you can throw it out of a window.
Have you ever seen a piano being set on fire?
Oh, the sounds are beautiful.
Fucking cool.
Yeah.
I actually haven't.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
when the
I'll have to look
strings
at
like
that.
snap and because the like soundboard's still there and the way it resonates.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that's
awesome.
really fucking cool.
Oh, that's gonna be a YouTube rabbit hole for me tonight.
I really liked the structure in this song, how it starts out like really slow, spacey, like gesturing at certain points, piano, some other fucking shit, and the piano's playing but like really slowly, and then later on in the song that becomes the bass line. I think that's a great way of introducing like a slapping line right like that. That was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, what? Yeah, they also do. Where is it? Latest Disgrace. All of the industrial sounds that they create is super cool. There's like, I don't know if this is intentional, but like sounds of, could be like the sound of like a reloading gun, or there's like the beeping of like a hospital, which is just cool. That's it.
I really liked. I made a note of the Latest Disgrace having like that really tight harmony in the vocals. Like there's not a lot where they play around specifically with vocal harmony around the melodies, but like that was really interesting and very uncomfortable in a very cool way.
Yeah, that's another punk classic of having two singers sing a second apart.
Yeah.
Like just a single tone, so it's like pretty uncomfortable. But yeah.
Uncomfortable. The way the songs end.
Oh, the amount of times
I
you
don't
sat
know
up
if I
and-
if I like it or not, but it's like it's so sudden and jarring, and you're like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Like it catches you off guard because it's kind of like got this groove to it, and then no, gone. That's it.
I agree with you there. I still don't know if I like it or not.
I was fine with it.
Yeah?
It was
Yeah,
cool.
that doesn't bother me so much.
Yeah.
I know, it was pretty much every song as well.
It was.
Can I pick a bone with you?
Okay.
Drums.
Yeah, what about them?
What's the go? You like the drums in this
Yeah,
album?
the drums are amazing here.
Okay, this is contradictory to conversations.
No, it's not.
This is so
Definitely not.
contradictory.
No,
It's not as high fidelity as other things, but it's not like down in the dirt.
Yeah, but the
like the
cymbals-
cymbals are clear.
Yeah, but
things
they
are
don't
mic'd up.
wash
You can
out
hear.
everything. When you're smashing, like, for example, like in Bed for the Scraping, or do you like, in fact, every
whole
song,
album,
the
yeah.
entire album, when they're like on the crash or the
But the
ride or
cymbals
whatever.
are like washy in that song.
But
in
they're not
Bedford
washing
Scraping.
out everything with its fucking nonsense.
This album,
It's
for the first time, showed to me what the fuck Bigs means when he's talking about this
what
stuff.
am I talking about? Please enlighten me, because
Well-
I don't know what I mean.
I heard the cymbal, but it stopped. Like, it didn't just continue until the next one started.
Yeah.
Right? I could hear other shit through it. And,
Right.
like, that hasn't been a problem for me in the past, but I finally know what you're saying. And, like, I agree with... I like the drums in this a lot.
Yeah. I think
And I don't think it was washy.
it's really noticeable in...
When you say washy,
Yeah, I
are
know.
we talking about
Yeah, right?
the cymbal sound and tone or a production element?
I don't know what it is.
Because the cymbals
Both,
were
maybe.
like washy, but they weren't like washing over everything and drowning stuff out.
Maybe it's as simple as cymbals being lower in the mix.
Well, no, I don't know, because like when...
Sorry.
How do I like the where did you really like point out, man? You're like, I'm gonna attack you about drums.
Well, the thing that made
Which
me
song was
think about it
First
was
song.
Bed for the Scraping. And then I thought about it, and then I really loved the snare in Forensic Scene, which I know is not relevant to the simple thing, but the snare is really...
The snare is really,
really
tight,
good, yeah.
really, really nice. Okay, combination lock. Actually, this is where the cymbals they crash, and there's the splash, and then it kind of just disappears. It's
So
like
you like it having a decay instead of
well,
it
sort of, but
sustaining.
it also feels like less high fidelity is the best way to put it. It sounds more like when you hear a cymbal actually get smashed in front of you, instead of like this perfectly accurate recreation of the concept of a cymbal being hit.
Bibbs really doesn't like perfection.
Well, no, maybe, I don't know. But can you not hear that difference?
Like, vaguely, but it's horses for courses, right? Different things for different contexts.
It's a birthday pony for courses.
Yeah, birthday pony for courses.
Maybe.
Another element that I thought contributed to the uncomfortableness was that root notes are all diatonic, right? So like we're staying within a key for the root notes themselves of chords, but the quality of the chord, like the other notes in the chords, can be out of key across this album,
Right.
And they often are. And I thought that was super interesting because like the basis of everything is diatonic, but then the consonant, everything's like grooving well in the one key.
Yeah.
And then like the rest of the chord has free reign to just be from wherever.
I don't understand what you mean. Exactly.
That was so searching.
I'm really trying.
So the root notes are in a key.
Yeah.
And in a key,
So
you
you can-
typically have certain qualities of a chord, like we're in C major, so the E chord is minor, right?
Yes.
Here, they're like, fuck it, it can be major.
Right.
But it still has to be E, it can't be E flat.
Okay, so they've picked a key, and it's like the 7 notes from the key that you can build chords on.
Yep.
But then those chords can be any chords.
Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Just think, glad we got there.
Yeah, and I thought that was really wacky
That was
and
wacky.
interesting.
Wacky
And
tobacco.
like kind of uncomfortable. Nice.
Cool. I, to be honest, still don't really understand, but that's okay. I'll just watch it back
You
and
don't
understand.
C major, C, D, E,
No, don't explain
F,
it, don't
G,
explain
A,
it.
B are the notes that you can build chords on. But they can be any chords.
So, like, we can have an E major chord even though we're in C major, which has a G natural, so that make an E minor chord. Anyway,
Can we connect them with triangles?
yeah, sure.
Probably.
Give it a shot.
Cool. That's great. Fun fact, this is all self-produced and self-made because they own their own label. Like,
Right.
they kind of started the DIY movement. I don't know if they started it or like a really big part of it. So the label's Discord, and they, I think it's Ian Mackay's baby. I think. I don't know if they're all a big part of it or not, but yeah. So they did all the production,
Right, cool. That's
which is cute
pretty
and
cool.
fun.
Like, they have an in-house engineer, or
I don't
are they
know.
engineering themselves?
I have no idea.
Cool.
That's where my trivia stops.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Favorite songs?
Combination lock. There were no vocals.
Wow.
I agree with that, but I also really liked Birthday Pony
Me too,
and
yeah, Birthday
Target.
Pony.
What was the other one I really liked? I think it was... no, it was Combination Lock. You're right.
Yeah, Target was cool as well. I really didn't like Back to Base, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I really didn't like Version, as we touched on earlier. That was...
Kira?
Yeah, I'm still sticking with Birthday Pony. That was a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah, great title, great lyrics.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite?
Sort of, I think Bed for the Scraping's probably my favourite. It's just got a sick fucking guitar riff in it.
And some washy cymbals.
Does it? What does it have?
Doesn't have washy cymbals. I'm
didn't
gonna
know.
fight you as soon as the cameras are off. Physical violence.
There's one part in Bed for the Scraping where the guitar riff is like, it keeps coming up. I said it would never come up again, but heterophony has arisen once more, where there's two instruments playing almost the same thing.
It says.
I can't remember what it is.
They do the
Sure.
Eagle Rock thing of, hey, let's do a solo where it's the same thing over and over and over again. And then they turn the solo into a riff.
Well, I wasn't going to
No.
call that a solo.
That's
right?
not a solo. No,
No.
That's
just
just the
a riff.
introduction of the
The
riff.
Yeah.
Right. Well, they sit on that for a long time.
Yeah, I really like the way that the guitars interact all through this, particularly in this song. It's probably why it's my favorite. There's a bit where they
How many people are in the band?
4
Four. Two
Yeah.
guitars, bass,
drums. Yeah,
and two singers across.
yeah, the guitarists are the, and except for the person who has a nice voice, who's the bass player.
Right, of course.
Wonderful.
I can't remember my point, but it was great.
Oh, yeah.
Good song.
Click above to find out what else we've listened to this month.
Click below to support the artist we just listened to.
And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode.